Hi everyone, this is Neville. Um, we are going to solve data sufficiency topic, counting and combinatorics, permutations, combinations in short, and counting. So I'm not going to explain in detail any concepts or even briefly. I'm straight away going on to the solutions. So I would suggest that you practice the worksheet which is given in the description of this video first. Yeah, and then come to this video for the solutions. Let's begin. Hang on. Okay. How many ways can you arrange the letters of a 7-letter English word where all letters are of the same font size, same font, same color, and all are in lowercase of the English alphabet? So ideally, one can solve this question as 7 factorial. Yes, because there are 7 letters. However, the information that we need is whether any letters are repeating. Correct? Whether any letters are repeating. So with condition statement A, we come to know that 7-letter word has at least one vowel. So whether it has no vowel, one vowel, it doesn't matter. So A is not solving the question. So when A is not solving, B is not solving. Now we go to the second statement. The 7-letter word consists of one of the vowels repeating twice. So if one of the vowels is repeating twice, what about the other vowel? What if there are two vowels repeating twice? What about the consonants, which is non-vowel letters? So B is also not solving it, correct? And when we take both together, there's at least one vowel, and that means we know that there are more than one vowel, and consist of one of the vowels repeating twice. It doesn't help us get to an answer. So let's just assume that there was exactly two letters repeating, and we had that information with us. Then the answer would be this one. But it is not together also, and we're left with only E. So E is the answer. Second one. Out of total of Y green marbles, yeah, and G green yellow marbles. So Y green, so again they're playing with words out here. As you can see, Y could be used for yellow, but they've used it for green. So Y green marbles, G yellow marbles. So out of Y and G marbles, how many ways can you pick two marbles such that both are green? So basically, this is the answer that we are looking for. This one. Both are green. Y is green. Okay. So this is what we need to locate. Okay. Condition 1. Statement A. There are total of 17 minus Y marbles. So that we know this part Y plus G is 17 minus Y. So we get 17 minus 2Y is equal to G. Right? From the first expression and the information given in the statement. In the question step, I mean. No, we are not getting anywhere with this also. Yeah. So let me check. 17 minus y, cy. Okay. So that is 17 minus y into 17, 16 minus y, dot, dot, dot. You have So if it was only one yellow marble, right? So v1 minus y. So upon y factorial. Not helping. We're not getting anywhere with this. So A is not sufficient. D is not sufficient. Statement B, there are 3 yellow marbles in total. So yellow marbles in total are 3. Okay. So now remember we are using this. So y plus 3, yeah, and y. Are we getting anywhere? Let me check. So this one is y plus 3 into y plus 2 into y plus 1 into y, right? Upon y factorial, which is y factorial. So y goes, yet the y part is not there. Correct? We are not able to find y. We know y plus g is the total. Not getting anywhere, right? So now we take both statements together. When we take both statements together, g is 3, we plug it in here. 17 minus 2y is equal to 3. 14 is equal to 2y. Therefore, y is equal to 7. We got y as 7, correct? And the total is 17 minus y, correct? So the total is 10. 17 minus 7. So we get 10 and y is 7. So we get our answer. We can calculate the answer from here. So therefore the answer is C. Got it? C is the answer. No. Third one. How many ways 5 children can be arranged on 5 chairs such that they all are seated in a straight row, where the first one to be arranged is a girl and the last one to be arranged is also a girl? Correct. Okay, so we have 5 children and this is a girl and this is also a girl. So this one could be a girl, could be a boy, girl or boy, girl or boy. So these three, we don't know whether these three are girl or boy in the center. All right. But from the look of it, we know that because they are mentioning first one is a girl, last one is a girl. So that means all are not girls. There's at least one boy in there. Okay. We know that. Right. And so we need to find out there are how many girls and how many boys. And that's it. Once we know that, because otherwise the answer would be 5 factorial. To arrange 5 children on 5 chairs is 5 factorial, but we need to figure out how many girls and boys are there. Okay, right. Total number of boys is lesser than the total number of girls. So let's say there's one boy, correct, and there are 4 girls. All right. So then we can say that, 4 factorial here. I mean 4 options here because there are 4 girls. Then 3, yeah, and so 4 and 3 is there. Now about the boy could be here also, here also, here also. All right. So there are 3 options, you know, 3 options for the boys. The boy can sit, sorry, the boy can sit on any of the 3 chairs, right? Correct. But let's say we go with the girls. So fourth, 3, there are 2 girls, right? And then one girl. Suppose these 4 were the position for the girls. And then the position for the boy is this. Okay. Now the fact is that this particular combination or arrangement, that is 24, can happen with a boy here also and then a boy here also. Understood? So 24 into 3 is what I'm guessing the answer is, but we don't care about the answer, right? Yeah. But this is incorrect. Why? Because what if there are 2 boys? So therefore, the statement 1 is not sufficient. Understood? Statement 1 is not sufficient. So D is also out. Because boys being lesser than the girls, it could be one boy, it could be 2 boys. With 2 boys, the arrangement changes. This is what I've given for one boy. Okay. Right. So you don't even need to do this. This was just to show you a particular example as to how this can be solved. Right. B, the total number of girls is one more than the total number of boys. So we know that boy plus the girls is 5. And the total number of girls is one more than the total number of boys. So this bracketed part is the girls. So we know that there are 2 boys and 3 girls, and we don't even need to do the math because the number is so small, 5, and we know that total number of girls is one more than the total number of boys, right? So obviously it's an even odd situation, right? So 2 boys, 3 girls, job done. And we know now there are 3 girls and 2 boys. So therefore the answer is 5 factorial. I'm sorry, 3 factorial into 2 factorial. That's the answer. Hang on a minute. Don't worry about the answer. What I'm trying to say is that there are 3 girls. So we have 4 girls, 4 ways out here, 3 ways out here, right? And then one more girl, so 2 ways out here. And the boys, for the boys, it'll be 2 and 1. Correct. Now, this is the situation 4 to the 8, 8 6 are 48 ways for this arrangement. Correct. Yeah. Remember, this is girl 1, girl 2, girl 3. Yeah. Girl 3. Okay, 4 3 2, and for the boys 2 1. Now the question is the boys can take uh, you know 2 1 position out here also. Correct. They can take 2 1 position out here also, like that. Correct. So 1 to 1 position is this. 1 to 1 position is this. 1 to 1 position is this. Right. So therefore, I am assuming there'll be 48 into 3 ways. Correct. Right or wrong? It could be 2 1 like that also. It could be 2 out here also and 1 out here. Right. Anyway. Correct. Anyway. So then we have 2 and 1 like this, 2 and 1 like this, 2 and 1 like this, and the girl being at the center out here. So the girl having not two. So yeah, basically this girl, this position can be applied by any of the 4 girls, this by any of the 3 girls, this one by any of the 2 remaining girls, right? I'm sorry, there are 3 girls, huh? So my bad. Hang on. So 3 girls, so 3 out here, 2 out here, 1 out here. All right. Yeah. And then boys could be 2 1. If the girl is here, 2 1. And if the girl is here, 2 1, like that. So yes, it will be my bad. 3 into 1 into 2, 6 to the 12. So it will be 12 times 3, 36 ways. This is to get to the answer. Again, you don't need to work out the answer. Okay. You don't need to work out the answer. Yeah. Right. And so this answer would be incorrect because there is a condition that the first and the last has to be the girl. Correct. So this is incorrect. Right. So B answers, C is out, E is out. B is the answer. Fourth one. How many different combinations are available for Maria for her lunch if she decides to have a lunch that consists exactly of one juice, one sandwich, and one any from a lemon or a ginger tea? So there is tea option, but there are 2 tea options, right? 2 tea options, lemon or ginger tea. Correct? So they'll become 2, right? From Cafe Prince of Persia. Option A, right? So the way we get to the answer is we need to find out how many options are there for the juice, how many for sandwich, and tea we know there are 2 options, right? So it would be something like, if J is the total number of juice options available, JC1 into S is the total number of sandwich options, SC1 into 2. This is 2 for the teas, right? So she's not having both the teas, but it'll be TC1, right? Something like that, right? So the answer will be J into S into T, where T is 2. So this we know is 2. T is 2, correct? She has any one of them, but there are 2 options for the T. So this we know, correct? So all we need to know is what is the outcome of this multiplication. A. The menu offers either a lemon or a ginger tea complimentary on every order that consists of a juice and a sandwich. So the lemon or ginger tea is complimentary. Now, whether it's complimentary, whether someone has treated a doesn't matter. We need to find out how many different combinations she's got. So A is not answering, B is not answering. If Maria's lunch did not consist of the ginger tea, then she would have had a selection of 21 different combinations for a lunch. So they're saying that J into S is equal to 21, J into S into 1, J into S into tea, where no ginger tea, so lemon tea, so that's 1. And these two together is obviously 21 because 21 into 1 is 21, right? This is one option. Now this 21 could be 3 into 7 or 7 into 3. These are the only two possibilities, or it could be 21 into, only one option for sandwich or one option for juice. It could be anyhow this 21 could play out. Are you with me? Yeah. So we are going with the basic option that maybe there is 3 for juice and 7 for sandwiches, or alternately 7 for this. Whatever way it is, 21 is out here and 1 of lemon. So 21 options here. So with those 21 into 1 with ginger, where this is L is lemon and this is ginger, there will be 21 more. So with option B, we get our answer. Option B, we get our answer. Correct? So B is the answer. C is out, E is out. Right? We have to find out how many different combinations are available for Maria for a lunch. So there are 42 different options. Question 5. Raghav sold apples, bananas, melons, and grapes at the fruit counter installed at the local fair in his locality. Apples cost 50 cents each. Bananas cost $2 a dozen. Yeah, for 12. Dozen is 12. Melons cost 40 cents each. And cost for a pack of grapes is according to its weight. If a customer bought fruits worth $5, right? How many apples did she purchase? So A is what we need to find out. A is how much, right? So option A. Grapes cost 1.5 per kilogram and sold only in packs of 500 grams. So this one basically gives us answer for nothing. It gives us information on grapes cost. That's it, which should have been in this question stamp, but they're giving it out here. So it's just out. Okay. A is out, D is out. The customer only bought apples and grapes. Okay, so from $5, if she bought only apples and grapes, right? Without knowing the cost of the grapes, we cannot solve using B, right? That how many apples she's got, right? So B is out. Both information together, now we know that the grapes cost 1.5 for a kilogram per kg, and it's only bought in packs of 500 grams. So let's assume that she bought 1 kg of grapes and 2 kg of grapes. So with 1 kg of grapes, right, which is costing $1.5, you have $3.5 worth of apples to be purchased. Correct? Because B is saying customer bought only apples and grapes. With $3.5, clearly there are 7 apples that you can buy. And if she bought 2 kg worth of grapes, then $3 are gone. And then you have $2 worth of apples that you can purchase. And with $2, you can have 4 apples. So with both the information together also, we cannot say that how many apples she can purchase, right? Or did she purchase? So C is out, E is the answer. So E is the answer. Okay. A bus service between town A and town B takes place every 90 minutes, beginning 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. in both directions every day except Saturdays and Sundays, wherein the bus service takes place every 2 hours, beginning 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. If Megha travels by this bus service from town A to town B, then at what time will she leave town A? So Megha always commutes by bus from town A to town B in the evenings at exactly the same time. So out here, evenings, right? And we have service 11 a.m. and 11 a.m. This is Saturday, Sunday, and this is Monday to Friday. Yeah. So this one is every 90 minutes. So we have 12:30, 2 o'clock, 3:30, 5 o'clock, 6:30, 8 o'clock, both the directions. But we are only looking from town A to town B. Yeah. So we're looking at A, B, C, D, E. Right. Evening. So evening slots are this. Right. So there are three slots. Some countries, this could be the evening slot. This could be the evening slot. We don't know. So A doesn't answer. All right. And she's going at exactly the same time. Correct. Right. Bus from town A to town B in the evenings at exactly the same time. Right. So for Saturday, Sundays, it's every 2 hours. So 11, 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay. So now evenings at exactly the same time. So we have a common attributor 5 p.m. Correct. Right. Megha always commutes by bus from town A to town B in the evenings at exactly the same time. So 5 o'clock is common and 11 o'clock is common to both. And evening is 5 o'clock. So we can say, in a way, A answers the question because she leaves in the evenings at exactly the same time. But then out here, we don't know whether or not she commutes over the weekends. Does it say she commutes every day? If the word every day is written, then perhaps we can say A is the answer. Megha always commutes by bus from town A to town B in the evenings at exactly the same time. Does it say that she travels every day? No, it doesn't say that. So that's important factor. Does she travel every day? If she traveled every day from town A to town B at exactly the same time, then we can say A answers because 5 is common and 5 is evening, 11 is morning, right? Normal English convention, right? Okay, so we don't know whether she does it every day, on the weekends, on the weekdays, we don't know. The reason being that if she says that only on the weekdays she travels, right, then we don't know whether it's 5 o'clock, 6:30, or 8 o'clock. There's three options. And if she says she travels only in the weekends, then we know it's 5 and 7, two options. But we don't know exactly what time she's leaving, right? The word every day was important. See, the bus service leaves every day. But whether she leaves every day, that is not given. So word every day is out here in the second line of the statement is there, but whether or not she leaves every day, that we don't. Second statement, Megha travels over the weekends at exactly the same time as she does on other days from town A to town B. Now here is an important thing. Megha travels over the weekends at exactly the same time as she does on other days from town A to town B. Right. So on other days from town A to town B with option B, right? We don't know what time she travels. So there are two options out here, 5 o'clock and 11 o'clock. With statement B, if she's traveling exactly the same time as she does on other days from town A to town B, then we don't know whether it's 11 o'clock or 5 o'clock. We shortlisted two options with statement B. All right. If you ignore A, then the information 11 to 8 and 11 to 7, 90 minutes and 2 hours is given to us already. Along with the statement B, we know that there are two possibilities that she leaves exactly at the same time as she does on the other days, and that could be 11 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Only two answers match, right? There are no other common slots. So with B alone, she cannot solve, but taken A and B together, if we take both together, then we come to know that the evening slot, she travels in the evenings at exactly the same time, right? And over the weekends also, she travels exactly the same time as she does on the other days. And so we have from the 11 to 5, evening slot, 5 o'clock is picked up. So therefore, C is the answer. Got it? Yeah. Very interesting question. Okay, hang on. Okay, hang on. Sorry. Um, yeah. Question 7. A bank has 40 branches within a metro city, and each branch needs to be color coded with either one color or two colors. Find out the minimum number of colors required to code all the branches. Okay. Right. So we have 40 branches. Okay. And suppose, without looking at the question stem, we say that there are 8 colors. So with 8 colors, all right, the branches need to be color coded with either one color or two colors, right? Each branch needs to be color coded with either one color or two colors, correct? So suppose we use one color, so then there are 8 branches coded, 32 are remaining. And then with two colors, so out of 8 colors, if we select two colors out of 8, then 8 7 are 56, 28 branches can also be covered. So 4 branches remain, right? 4 branches remain. So that's how I'm looking at it. Yeah. But in order to do this, we need certain conditions. So let's look at option A. Does it provide us those conditions? And I'll let you know what those conditions are. Colors used to code a branch can be used again to color code another branch when used with another color. So that was one of the conditions. Can the color be repeated? Or can the color cannot be repeated? For example, it is colors A, B, C. Then I can have AB as one branch code and AC as another branch code where I'm repeating color A. Are you getting the picture? Yes. So that was one of the conditions I was looking for, and they're saying that the color can be repeated, can be used with another color. Now the second condition is about whether AB is distinct coding than BA. This arrangement is different from this, or whether or not that is a possibility. So now while color coding branches with two colors, the order in which the colors are coded is not important. Correct? So with A alone, right, we are missing out on BA condition. So B alone is also not possible to get to the answer. So both together clears out those two conditions that we require, whether the colors can be repeated and whether or not the order is important or not. So since we have considered that, we can use 9 colors to get to the answer, because we know that with 8 colors we came to the closest of 36 branches we could cover, but 4 branches were remaining. So I'm pretty positive that with 9 colors we'll do more than 40 branches, but then that will be minimum number of colors required to code all the branches. Therefore, C is the answer. C. Okay. Eighth one. How many four digit passwords are possible to crack a safe deposit locker, given that the digits are never used more than once in the same password? Given that the two digits, given that two digits are never used more than once in the same password. So A, B, C, D. If 0 comes at the beginning of the 4-digit password, then it cannot be used again in that same password. So with A, we're not getting the answer because there are 2 digits which are never used more than once. So there's 0 is only one of the digits, and they're giving a particular condition for 0. B, digits 0 and 9 cannot be used more than once in the same password. So that can give us the answer now, right? So we don't need to do the math on this. I'm not wasting time doing the math. You can figure it out. B is the answer. Okay, right? Okay. So this first condition is not required really, because with 0 and 9 cannot be used. 0 can be if 0 is here, and then again if 0 is here, and then again if 0 is here, and then again if 0 is here. Like that, you work out with 9 also, and then for the non 0 and 9 4-digit password. Okay. So when you consider this option, it automatically takes care of statement A. Yeah. Anyway, question 9. Right. Okay. Just a disclaimer out here. The question 9 is one of the toughest questions so far. Right. Johnny stood fifth from the last, standing in a line for an entrance to a conference. No person entered or left the line from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Yeah. Find out the total number of people that stood in that line from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. So this is the important bracket that we have. So statement A. 10 people stood before Johnny in that line between 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. So we know that before Johnny, there were 10 people between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. But we don't know how many are there after Johnny. So A doesn't answer. So D is out. Right. Okay. And Johnny stood fifth from the last. So we cannot assume that it is between 12 and 1 because they're very particular about mentioning 12 to 1 every case, but not in the first statement. That Johnny stood fifth from the last. So he could have stood fifth from the last out here also before 12 p.m. also and after 1 p.m. also. We don't know. So A doesn't answer. Now before 12 p.m. there are 10 people. Yeah. So 12 p.m. there are 10 people before 12 p.m. and after 1 p.m. there are 15 people in that same line. Right. Now that doesn't tell us anything between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. So obviously second statement on its own is not enough. Taking both the statements together, so this is A information and the B information is 10 out here and 15 out here. Okay. So one more information is fifth, stood fifth from the last. Now suppose Johnny stood fifth from the last in these 10. These 10 people includes Johnny also, right? Or perhaps not Johnny, we don't know. But let's just say that Johnny was there and he stood fifth from the last. So then there are 4 people after him. He's Johnny, fifth from the last. And there are 5 people in front of him because there are 10 people overall. Okay, correct. But yet, taking this situation, all right, Johnny fifth from the last, if you are saying that Johnny's fifth from the last, right? And before 12 p.m., there are 5 people in front of him. If we take fifth from the last before 12 p.m., then as you know that as time goes on, yeah, people should enter the conference and therefore people before Johnny should be reducing. But then when you look at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., that information, there are 10 people before Johnny. So clearly this fifth from the last cannot be before 12 p.m. because the number of people in front of him should reduce. But it has clearly become 10 from 12 to 1. So fifth from the last option is out. Yeah, to be before 12 p.m. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So suppose we assume that Johnny is fifth from the last between 12 to 1 p.m. Correct? But that's just an assumption. What if he is the last person from 12 to 1 p.m.? In that case, there are 11 people. What if he's third from the last? If he's third from the last, then there are 13 people. Last and third from the last. So assuming he's fifth from the last out here, there could be 15 people. If he's third from the last, 13 people. If he's the last person, there are 11 people. Right. So between 12 to 1 p.m., it doesn't answer. We're not getting an answer. But let's just say that no one entered or left the line. It's saying, huh? It's saying somewhere no one entered or left the line, right? No one entered or left the line. So we know that this is right. 10 people stood before Johnny in that same line between 12 to 1 p.m. It doesn't tell us how many people were after Johnny. So, but we know for a fact that no one entered or left the line. So there are some people after Johnny, but no one entered or left the line. Anyway, now let's look at information after 1 p.m. There are 15 people. Now out here, suppose we assume that Johnny is fifth from the last. We're only assuming. The fact of the matter is that after 1 p.m., maybe Johnny's not there after 1 p.m. Correct? Maybe Johnny's not there. Or maybe he's there. And if he's there, then maybe uh, uh, we don't know for a fact whether it is fifth from the last. But let's assume he's fifth from the last. Okay. So Johnny is here. And obviously there are 10 people before him. Correct? Now, do not get confused just because the information already is given 10 people before 12 p.m., 15 people after 1 p.m., 10 people before Johnny between 12 to 1. So if we assume that Johnny's fifth from the last after 1 p.m. and there are 10 people before him, correct? Right. So it yet doesn't tell us. The question is find out the people stood in that line from 12 to 1. It yet doesn't tell us the situation between 12 to 1. Correct? Yeah. So if Johnny's last, then there are 11 people. Johnny's third last, there are 13 people. Correct. And Johnny's fifth last. Let's just consider that 12 to 1 p.m. it was fifth last, and after 1 p.m. also no one entered or left the line. And no one moved forward also after 1 p.m. in the conference. So let's assume there's 15 out here. So there are three possibilities, even in this situation. Correct. I mean, in this situation, anything could be a possibility, right? Like if Johnny was last, then he became fifth from the last after 1 p.m. Okay. And if Johnny was third from the last, then there were three people that got added, right? Or two people that got added. These two people got added after 1 p.m. if he was third from the last. What's important is that between 12 to 1, we're not getting a definite answer. C is also out. E is the only possible answer. Okay. Yeah. Right. Think about it. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. 10. So now the questions become easy because I believe I didn't want to fry my brains forming any more data sufficiency question. Okay. Elsa won 7 gold, 6 bronze, 3 silver medals while she was in high school. She had won all the medals for both academic and non-academic activities. How many gold medals did she win from her non-academic activities? All right. So this she won for both her academic and non-academic activities. Yeah. We have to find out how many she won for her non-academic activities. How many she won for non. So Elsa won 2 medals. Statement A. Elsa won 2 medals less for her non-academic activities than she had won for her academic activities when she was in high school. So we clearly know that these 7, 6, 13 plus 3, 16. 16 is a total for 9 and 7 because this is non-academic and this is academic according to statement 1. But it doesn't tell us how many of the gold went for academy, how many of the gold went for non-academy. Correct? So A doesn't answer, D doesn't answer. Elsa won 3 medals each of gold. Yeah, 3 gold, silver, and bronze for her academic activities. So now I know that 9, yeah, medals are there that went for academic. From this information alone, I come to know, right? Because from here, I know there are 16. From the question stem, I know there are 16. So I know that there are 7 medals now for non-academic. Yeah. And I know that there are 7 gold and 3 gold went for academic, then 4 gold are for non-academic. And that's all I care. I don't care about the silver bronze part. And so B alone answers the question. Yeah. B alone answers the question. So fairly simple, I would say. 11. Okay. How many ways can you form a committee of 4 people from a group of 16 people such that the committee consists of 3 women and 1 man? All right. So we know that it is 16 on the whole. Yeah. And we need to select 4. So had it been a committee of 4 people, it would simply be 16C4, right? But we don't know that part. We don't know there are how many out of 16, how many are men and how many are women. We don't know that. Okay. The committee cannot have a married couple. So A on its own doesn't really tell us anything. All right. It cannot tell us anything. It just says it doesn't have a married couple. Now B option says the group of 16 consists of 4 married couples. So 4 men, 4 women who are married. So 8. And the rest are all unmarried women. So then there are remaining 8 women who are unmarried, right? So these are married men, married women, not married women. Okay. And now we need to select what? 1 man and 3 women, right? 4 people, right? So total number of men we have is 4. So I can have 4C1 into 3 women. And those 3 women can be any of the 12, right? But it says the group consists of 4 married couples and the rest are all unmarried. All right. The committee cannot have a married couple. Ah, now the B information tells us the breakup that there are 4 married men, 4 married women, correct? Meaning there is a couple of 4 and there are 8 women who are unmarried. So it tells us the breakup, right? But it does not tell us this part, this condition that the committee cannot have a married couple. Now that's an important condition because without that condition, my answer would have been 12C1, 12C3, I mean. 12 women are there in total. From B, I come to know that 12 women, there are 4 men. So 4C1 into 12C3, right? Because selecting 3 women and 1 man, yeah. So this is my answer. But with that condition, this 12C3 changes. 4C1 remains as it is. But with this condition, the committee cannot have a married couple. So although I can pick up any one of the men, but I have to make sure that the women I select is not his wife. Therefore, if I leave out his wife, correct? But then there are 4 options for the men, right? So the thing is, it could be 4C1 and to make absolutely sure, right, that the couple is not selected. Yeah. Uh, I can do 8C1, 8C3, I mean. This will make sure that I've got 3 women who are not married to one of the men chosen out here. Correct? Yeah. Right. And these 3 women are from the unmarried case. Yeah. But there is also a possibility the condition can also be such that there is you're picking up a man, yeah, and you're making sure that his wife is not in the group, correct? So out of the 12 women, we are picking up 11 women only. So that's one of the ways to solve this, right? So this one doesn't consider this possibility that there could be 11 options, right? So therefore, this is not correct, but this is a correct way. Picking up 1 man and making sure his wife is not there, correct? And like that, multiplied by 4 because we do that for each and every man. right? There are four men, right? Four married couples. So if I pick up the second man, like let's say this is man A, then same thing for man B. If I pick up man B, 1C1 into 11C3, I make sure that his wife is not there. So therefore, this will be the answer. So again, what I'm trying to say is that C is the answer. However, don't focus on the math part, calculation part. We don't need to waste time on the calculation. We just need to understand conceptually, can we solve it or not, right? Okay, 12th one. On which day would the 28th of February fall in the year after the last leap year? Okay. So remember out here, the concept is there, which I have probably not discussed in other videos. Yeah. The concept is that whenever there is a leap year, correct? Right. We know for a fact that suppose, let's say statement A. Okay. Let's say statement A. Correct. In the last leap year, the 29th of February fell on a Thursday. All right. Then we know that the 29th of February for this year is the last leap year, right? Or the year after. Suppose, let's say 2020 was the last leap year. Suppose, hypothetically. And on this day, 29th of Feb fell on a, let's say, Thursday. Okay. Let's just say that this last leap year was 2020. Yeah. And 29th of Feb was the Thursday. Then the concept is, or probably the property out here is that you need to know that in 2021, yeah, it says now the year after the last leap year. All right. In 2021, if they're asking 29th of Feb, correct? 29th of Feb, then it will always be 2 days after Thursday. So Friday gaya, Saturday, right? It will always be 2 days after. And had it not been a leap year, had it not been a leap year, right? Yeah, and obviously non-leap year, you can't have 29 days, 28th of Feb, for example. If 28th of Feb was Thursday, all right, then whether or not the next year is leap year or non-leap year, all right, on the year itself, it's a non-leap year. Then the year after that, the 28th of Feb, the year after that, the 28th of Feb will always be 1 day after Thursday. So let me explain it to you again. All right, let me explain it to you again. But see, you don't need to really know this part. Yeah. I mean, if you know, it does help. But all I'm trying to say is that, yeah, okay. See, what I'm trying to say is that any year you pick up 2018, let's say 14th of March, okay, hypothetically, I don't know which day it is, but let's say it is Wednesday. Yeah. Then in 2019, now these both are non-leap years. 14th of March will fall on Thursday. Okay, right? 14th of March will be 1 day after Wednesday, Thursday. All right. Now, suppose in 2020, 14th of March, if we consider it will be 1 day after Thursday, which is Friday, right? Suppose 14th of March was on Friday and 2020, remember the leap year. Then 2021, 14th of March will be not on Saturday but on Sunday. That's all you need to remember. That if it's a leap year, the same date will have 2 days after. Yeah. And if it's not leap years, then it will be 1 day after. Anyway, now on which day would the 28th of Feb fall in the year after the last leap year? So last leap year, the 29th of February fell on a Thursday. Okay. So this clearly gives us the answer as to which day would the 28th of Feb fall, right? In the year after the last leap year. So last leap year, the 29th of Feb fell on a Thursday, right? Then the year after will be the 28th of Feb because after the leap year, we don't have another leap year, right? Yeah. So anyway, so we are trying to figure out 28th of Feb. Okay, right? And remember, out here, if the 29th of Feb was a Thursday, last leap year, correct? So the year after that, there is no 29th of Feb, correct? There's 28th of Feb. The year after that is 28th of Feb. So you'll have to consider 2 days from 366 days. Yeah, from 366 days, it goes on to 365 days. All right, so we'll have to consider 2 days after. That's what I was trying to tell you out here also, right? Yeah, you'll have to consider 2 days after, whatever the case. So whether it's 14th of March or whatever the case may be, right? So yeah, okay, all right. Now, if you find that this concept is incorrect, correct me. Yeah, because it's a very tricky question, but nevertheless, you can figure out the answer, right? With A, you can figure out the answer. Okay, right? So with A, you can figure out the answer. C is out, E is out. So it's either A, B. I mean, B is also out. B, C, and E is out. It's either A or D, right? Okay. B, leap years have 29 days in the month of February, and non-leap years have 365 days in a year. It's a general information given to you. Yeah. So B doesn't help. So A is the answer. Okay. Now, just to spend a little bit of time on this, if I'm ready, if I'm correct with this concept out here, yeah, all right. So remember there are 28 days out here in Feb also. I mean, 29 days of Feb out here, and out here, I mean, in the year 220, there is 29 days in Feb, and in the year 2021, there are 28 days in Feb. Whatever the case may be, the 28th of Feb, correct? The 28th of Feb is considered. So out here, on which day would the 28th of Feb? So basically, we are talking about the last day of the Feb, right? Comparable to 29th of the Feb, right? So it will be 2 days after. After the leap year, the year after the leap year will always be 2 days after. Okay, remember that. Yeah. So if it's Thursday, right? So on which day would the 28th of Feb fall, right? So I think a very good way to solve this question is, right, to not consider 29th, nah, take it as 28th. So we know if the last leap year 29th of February fell on a Thursday, take it as 28th of Feb, which fell on a Wednesday, right? Makes sense, right? So then, if we consider 28th Feb fell on a Wednesday, then the year after that, 28th of Feb, correct, will fall on a Friday. Simple. Job done. Make sense? Yeah. All right. So we are not getting confused with that 29th because next year there is no 29th. Yeah. All right. 13th one. How many total combinations of responses one can expect in a test consisting of 4 questions? Right. So let's say there's a MCQ with 4 options, 4 answer options. So if it was 1 question, then we know there are how many total combinations, right? Four responses. A, B, C, D, E. I mean A, B, C, D. 4 responses are there, right? So any one will be the answer, correct? It's an MCQ with 4 choices. So 4 questions, there are 4 choices. It could be A, B, C, or D, correct? Second one, 4 options. Second one, third one, 4 options. Fourth one, 4 options. 4 raised to 4. That many combinations are there, correct? 256 combinations are there. But we don't know that whether there are it's a MCQ, whether it's true or false, whether it's fill in the blank, we don't know, right? So we need to figure that part out. Once we figure that part out, we can get the answer for this question. How many total combinations of responses one can expect in a test, right? Yeah. All right. So A, more than 16 participants took the test and answered all the 4 questions. Well, we know how many participants took the test, but we don't know what kind of responses are there. True or false or MCQ, four option MCQ, 5 option MCQ. We don't know that. Correct. So A doesn't answer, D doesn't answer. There is no limit. There is no time limit set on the test, and each participant's response was unique, either true or false, for each of the 4 questions. And each participant's response was unique, meaning everyone responded either true or false. That's what they're saying. And if that is the case, then instead of 4 options, there are 2 options, 2 options, 2 options, 2 options. So 2 raised to 4, there are 16 possible combinations, as you know, 2, 2, 2, 2. Yeah. False, 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 true, false, true, false, 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 true, something like that. There are 16 possibilities. So I think with option B, you get the answer. The question is whether or not more than 16 participants took the test and answered all the 4 questions, important or no? No, it's not important. Because the challenge is that what if one of the participants did not answer one of the questions out of the 4 questions? Then it is unanswered. So that could also be a possible response, right? Yeah, that could also be a possible response, but that is taken care of in statement B itself, that each participant's response was unique, either true or false. And question A is trying to say that only, that more than 16 participants took the test. Yeah, more than 16 participants took the test. And that 16 participants is just a distraction, because the question is how many total combinations of responses one can expect. Now, whether it was only one person taking the test also, we can expect 16 possible combinations of responses one can expect in a test consisting of 4 questions. It is not saying with the participants, because see, if there are 16 participants also and all of them are answering correctly, then there's only one possible combination, right? True, false, true, false. If true, false is the answer in that order, then that's the only combination. So whether it's one participant, 16 participants, it doesn't matter, because if all the 16 participants got it right, then how many total combinations of responses one can expect? We can expect only one possible combination. Okay. All right. So it doesn't matter whether it's one participant or 16 participants. The statement A's importance out here is that whether or not all questions were answered or not. So all the questions were answered. That is what A is saying, but that B is also stating it, but in other words. It's saying that each participant's response was unique, true or false. So it is stating that. So that's why A is not important. Yeah. And that's why C cannot be the answer. B itself is the answer. B is the answer. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Last one. And that's the final thing. Okay. And then we can wind up with this. Okay. So we have number of arrangements in a circle is calculated using the factorial expression n minus 1 factorial. Yeah. Because in a circle, we don't know the starting point, whether it's left, right, nothing we know. So we fix one person if there are 5 people. Yeah. If there are 5 people, we fix one person. And so the number of people to be arranged are only 4. Therefore, if there are 5 people, then 4 factorial ways to arrange 5 people in a circle. Just an example. Where n are the total number of things to be arranged in a circle. If Adam played a game that required people to be seated in a circle, then find out how many ways can all the players be arranged in a circle. So we basically need to know that how many players are there altogether, right? The game included a ball passed around in a circle from one player to the other until the chain was completed, where the first one to pass the ball was also the last one to receive the ball. It's like, passing the ball in a circle, yeah, like musical thing where when the ball stops, the one who has the ball in the hand is probably gonna do something or it's gonna be eliminated, whatever the case may be, right? Something like that. So out here with statement A, we don't know there are how many participants, correct? We don't know that. All we know that the ball is passed around until the first one who passed is also the last one to receive. So A doesn't answer, D is not the answer. The game began with Adam passing the ball to his left until the last player passed it on. By then, the number of times the ball was passed around was exactly 10. So until the last person passed it on. Now remember, this is an interesting concept. Let's say this is a tree Yeah. And this is a gap. Tree, gap. Tree. Like I'm saying, it's a tree in a straight line. So if there are three trees, right, then the number of gaps is two. All right. So imagine this is like passing. Gap is like passing. All right. So if there are four trees, the number of gaps are three. Now, if you put something in a circle, yeah, like A, like B, and like C. So the gaps, if you see, for three people, there are three gaps. So consider that as passing. So if the number of times the ball was passed was exactly 10, then we know there are 10 people. N is 10. So we know n minus 1 factorial is 9 factorial. That will be the answer. Now, again, remember, we're not trying to look for the answer. We're just trying to understand whether B conceptually can solve the question. It can. So therefore, B is the answer. Okay. And that's it. We are done. Thank you very much. Remember, if you want to view, uh, you know, details, detailed review of permutation and combination, then look at the description of this video. I've given all the information over there. Thank you very much.